talk. So, hey guys, this is Bradley with Semantic Mastery, and today is the first Hump Day Hangout that we're going to be doing weekly on Wednesdays from 4 to 4:30. About 30 minutes Q&A, all things SEO, syndication, video SEO, local SEO, social media, automation, anything like that. That's what we're going to be talking about, and the floor is open to all attendees. There's also a question box, in the sidebar. If you're actually in the Hangout event page, you should be able to see that, I'm assuming. I just want to give a little kind of housekeeping up front that today we're doing it directly in Hangouts. I believe going forward we're going to be doing this every week, probably hosted on our own website at semanticmastery.com. There will be a special page for that so that we can keep everything uniform and kind of get familiar with those controls. So today, like I said, it's the first one. I just wanted to open it up and answer questions to anybody who is attending. It looks like there's just a couple of you for now, so if anybody's got any questions, fire away.
Well, I've got one. While I was looking through some of the IFTTT training, I saw the suspended Tumblr account, and actually I haven't had a chance to look through that, but can you walk through that real quick? Is there a way to get around that, or?
Yeah, there is, and actually that's a great question because that happens almost. It's insane how Tumblr is so sensitive, where you'll create an account in Tumblr, and within sometimes before you can even get the first post posted, it will terminate the account, and you'll go try to revisit the URL, and it'll say nothing to see here, and have that flashing image in the background. I'm sure we've all seen that. What you do at that point is you go into you contact support, and I believe there will be a button that says, if you feel you've hit this page an error, click here or something like that. And essentially, it's just a contact form. You click on that, and you submit the username of the Tumblr account plus the email address that you signed up with, and say, hey, I just created my Tumblr account. I don't know, but for some reason it's been terminated. Can you please reactivate my account? I didn't even get a chance to post my first post. And typically within 24 hours, you'll get a response back from Tumblr, and they'll say, okay, that was a glitch on our software. We apologize. We've reactivated your account, and we'll try not to let it happen again. So it's kind of an automated spam step that they add in. It's kind of a pain, but I guess it's because if you take the time to respond using the email that you signed up with and everything else, they realize that you're a lot less likely to spam it, even if that's what we're really planning on doing. So, yeah, generally you can get it restored within a couple hours. I'd say give it 24 hours, and every now and then they'll deny restoration for whatever reason. And if that's the case, you just start with open up a new one underneath another email account. So, okay. Sherman, he's here. Let me put on my. You guys don't need to see me anymore. Let's see. Sherman, I know you probably have some questions. Can you? Uh-oh, we lost him. he said, "I'm bailing out."
Don't call me out.
All right, let's see.
Okay, we've been talking a lot about 301s, redirects, meta refresh, and all that. And I was just looking at a video, Don't Hurt Me, by Matt Cutts, where he was talking about how much page rank you actually lose through a link, interlinking on the website, and versus the PR that you lose by using a 301, that it's almost the same. But, what I would ask is, and I think you went over this before, but just to be clear, how much domain authority, page authority do you think bleeds out when you're redirecting and when you're doing a double, maybe even a triple redirect to try to stay clear of any Google activity, Google bot activity?
Right. Well, that's a good question, because I honestly don't know the answer to that. I've read things about page rank and how much you lose, but I really don't know about how much domain authority or page authority doesn't pass through that, through a 301, or how much you lose with that 301. I remember reading, and don't quote me on this because I don't know, I don't have the stats in front of me, I'd have to dig it up, but I believe it was like with PageRank like 15%. For a 301 redirect, like so you get essentially 85% of the juice if it was a single 301 redirect, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Let me leave it on for a minute.
I think John is driving and hanging out.
Yeah, they say texting and driving is bad. What's Hangout and driving like? All right, so yeah, he definitely is. So as far as PageRank, I believe it's 15%, but again, don't quote me on that. As far as domain authority and page authority, I'm not real sure. That's something I'd have to check into, but I do know that it passes. I just don't know how much is lost. It even passes, by the way, through a no-follow link. For a lot of you that might not know that, page authority, domain authority does pass through a no-follow link. It just doesn't pass PageRank.
This is interesting too. It would take a little while to stabilize, but that'd be something we could set up. And I'm surprised I've never seen anyone do that. So maybe we could do that. Nobody's ever just said, "Hey, we set up, these sites. We pointed these links at them, got a stable, domain authority of 20, and then, did a 301 on the links, and this is what happened." Or, I've never come across that.
Yeah, that would be an interesting test to set up, where it would, like, that's the only thing we do is push juice to a particular domain with just a 301 buffer in between, yeah, and just monitor it that way. That would actually be a pretty interesting test. I would give it at least 60 days, though.
Oh yeah, it'd take a little while to stabilize.
Yeah, but then the other part of that would be we'd have to take just one particular, like one link, you know what I'm saying, from a page with like, a page authority of whatever, and yeah, push it through, and that's it. You couldn't add any other links to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So actually, that'd be pretty cool to do, to try out. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Maybe do it on like run 3 links to each, but they all get the same, just so you're not dealing with the same link from each page. Dealing with like, is it in a different position or where it's at.
Right. Let me see if I can unmute John for a minute. If he's... Oh, he might have muted himself. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's see. Not seeing questions.
Another part to my question would be the pros and cons of 301s.
Well, I don't know about the really cons for that matter, because I use them a lot. I use 301s for protecting money sites. So put a 301 buffer between, or a meta refresh, either one, but between that and you're not directly linking to the money site, because that way if something happens, you can remove the 301 redirect, provided you have control over that. A lot of the 301 redirect services like Bitly and TinyURL and things like that, as far as I know, you can't really control. You can't edit the link once it's once you've created it. If I'm wrong on that, call me out. But that's typically why what I'll do is like for direct linking to my money site, I'll use an expired domain that I purchase that and do it a 301 redirect, or I'll do a meta refresh from something like a Weebly site that I can have control on a page-by-page level basis. That way, if something happens that some of that link juice is negative, I can remove the redirect. And that's part of the problem with I found with like Bitly is that you can archive the bit link itself, but I don't know that removes the juice. That would be another interesting test. But typically, the pros would be that you can add a buffer if you've got control over the 301 destination, like the redirect destination. Then you can add a buffer in there. Number 2, if you're doing client work. This is kind of sneaky, but this is in my opinion, the only way to do client work is to always build links to your own 301 redirect domain that you point to their domain, and that way that you get to control all the work. You keep all the work that you've done, and in the event that the client decides that you're not needed anymore, then that's fine. You remove the redirects, but you get to keep the domain that has all the juice actually pushed, coming into it. And that's something that I would always suggest that people do, because that way you get to keep the work. As an SEO, we put a lot of work into what we do, and I think it's all too often that some clients, not all of them, but a handful of clients, they get to that coveted number 1 position and they decide that they don't need you anymore, and they don't realize that if you've done as I just mentioned, you get to keep all the work that you put in, and they don't, and that's their fault for letting you go. So
yeah.
Guys, can I pop in real quick?
Yes, John. How are you, man?
You guys, I popped in right at the end. You guys were talking about the domain authority.
Uh-huh.
We've done 2 tests. I've actually pumped up using subdomains, 2 customer sites, one from a domain authority of 21 to 45, and the other one from a domain authority of 30 to 48. And happened within like 30 to 45 days. I mean, it was quick. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen anything? So what we were specifically talking about was using 301s to test that and say, okay, if we point a certain specified links at a site, let the domain authority stabilize where it's linking to, and then instead use a 301 on those links, or some variation, either 301 them and then do it direct and see what the change is, to see what amount, if any, domain authority changes from using a 301 and as opposed to not using it.
So how much loss is there
Yeah.
through that 301? That was really the question.
well, I'll probably be able to have some for you because that's actually the next step I'll be doing. So
Cool.
I'll if I can get the results because one of those customers I've shared with you guys before, so I don't mind showing you what I did. So I'll start that this week and let you know what goes on in about 30 or 40 days.
Cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah, let us know. Keep that. If I were you, I would keep that in the inside the actual group though, because these weekly calls are public. So if you don't want to share your client stuff with the world, then keep that in the group itself. Okay.
But just so you know, if anybody else is watching and they're not part of the group, they understand there's value inside of the group, so that should help you guys out.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, that's the idea. So thanks for that, John. I appreciate that. Good to see you, man. By the way, it's been a while.
About my customers, so but I don't mind sharing this one with you guys.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Hey, Adam, do you see in the sidebar a questions box? There's a Q&A.
I just see the group chat, but is there a actual? Oh, I see. Let me click on that.
Click on that, because maybe I have to instruct people to use that, because I've got the app open, but I don't see anything.
Yeah, me neither. I just asked in group chat and said if anybody's got some questions, and Sherman just showed up. He might have something.
Yeah, let's hope we can stay this time. What's up, Sherman?
Hi, sorry guys, when internet is a bit dodgy where I'm at.
How are you?
I'm alright, man.
Good.
Okay, have I missed anything?
Yeah, you missed all the good stuff already, man. We're about I'm kidding. There'll be a recording of this anyways. I'll be posting the recording in the group, so.
Okay.
But hey, man, if you got any questions, fire away, because it's open to you.
Basically, this week I went back to square one after the last webinar, basically. Starting with keyword research once again, trying different approaches with keyword research. I know you covered it a few times with me already, but I've been getting it wrong. But I've been seeing now targeting the small issues or the areas, small areas. It looks good. It looks good from there. So, I mean, if you have anything on that, basically, I'm basically starting from over now.
So you'd like to get a little bit of insight on the keywords themselves?
Especially on areas, yeah, specific areas like smaller areas and like some keywords, some you don't see any, it doesn't appear in the keyword plan or anything, but
well, you know, that's a good question, and Sherman, it depends on what your strategy is, and again, like for example, you know, how much you're getting paid from by your client and that sort of thing. So the idea is that if you're going after a broad keyword, which number one, especially for ranking a video like what we talked about last week, that you don't want to go for too broad of a keyword, especially for local services for a video, because it's damn near impossible to rank some videos on page one. Depends on the keyword, but too broad, it's difficult. Longer tail, it's a lot easier. And again, when I talked about how there's a different intent, a searcher intent. You know, when people are searching a really broad keyword, a lot of the times they're looking for more information. They're at the very top or the beginning of the sales cycle. Whereas if they look for a more targeted keyword, a longer tail phrase, a lot of the times that means that they're further along in the funnel. They're closer to the point at which they're going to make a purchase or a decision. So, yeah. And it's generally easier to rank for those longer tail terms. Okay, so there's number one, you need to determine, you know, what it is that you're ultimately trying to do. Number two, how much are you getting paid for from the client? Because regardless of what you're getting paid, if you can't rank the video, if you can't perform, you're going to fail the client, right? And they're going to end up losing you, and that also looks bad on you. So there's a couple ways to do this. Number one is, first and foremost, keyword selection, like I said, is very important. Not only go for a longer tail service term, especially for local, but also think about some of the suburbs. If you're going after a major metropolitan area, that's going to be a hell of a lot more competitive. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it's going to take you longer and it's going to take more work. Whereas if you can target a lot of the suburbs or the smaller areas, or if it's a big city like boroughs within the city or districts, that sort of thing, now those aren't searched near as much, and the keyword tools might not show that they're getting searches, but I guarantee you that they get searches. Okay, and the way I look at it is, like, for example, and where I'm at in the state of Virginia, we got, you know, some large counties that have multiple cities within the counties, and so, for example, one of the cities that we that I do a lot of SEO work in is called Fairfax County. I'm sorry, one of the counties. It's called Fairfax County, and it's got essentially 32, or maybe it's 23. Anyways, it's got like 23 cities, and the main search term for anybody in that county is always service plus Fairfax, right? And so if I do keyword research on anything, like let's just say plumbing or tree services or something like that, I'll see a certain amount. Might be, you know, 90 searches a month, or 120 searches a month, or 150 searches per month is what it shows. And if I go look at the 23 individual cities, nothing might register on any of those, or it might be real small, like 10 searches a month or something like that. But cumulatively, if I rank 23 videos, and I'm just using this as an example, but if I was to rank 23 videos for all the individual, like, little areas or cities within that county, they add up to be more overall search volume than that one term. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
So, and the thing is a lot of those types of videos we can rank in a matter of minutes. I'm not kidding. I mean, a lot of those less competitive, because everybody's targeting Fairfax. So if I target one, like for example, one of the suburbs or cities or towns or whatever you want to call it within the county is Burke, B-U-R-K-E. Another one is Annandale. Another one is Great Falls. So all of these different areas, I could rank a video in literally minutes. I can upload it or do a Wirecast or a Hangout, right? And within an hour, it's ranked on page 1. So do I want to take a month, 30 days of working my ass off to get one video ranked for Fairfax, which is the main search term, or do I want to rank 15 videos in the next 3 days with little next to no work and have them cumulatively end up ranking, producing more results? And lastly, the part of that is if you create, if you create the Fairfax video, which, in my case would be the Fairfax video, which is the tougher video to rank, this is a tougher term, but within the description of every one of those suburb videos, you put a link to the Fairfax video, chances are all of those are going to rank that Fairfax video anyways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yes.
So that's why, like I said, when you're dealing with the client up front, you need to find out what their products and services are, and then find out which areas they want to rank for, and then educate them. Have that kind of a conversation like I just did with you, and show them. Yeah. Say, look, it might show 150 searches a month for this term, but if we were to target these 10 areas that are surrounding you, we'll get faster results, and cumulatively, you'll probably end up getting more calls anyways. And price accordingly.
Yeah.
So, I hope that makes sense. Is there any questions on that?
No, that's pretty clear. I mean, I should be killing it. I mean, with the research I've been doing this week, I mean, I will start implementing, and I mean, with these smaller areas, I mean, especially with the medical industry or those type of things, the guys that charge a lot for the clients, like maybe like dollars, maybe like $20,000, $10,000, and I mean there's like 10 searches a month for that. But I mean I'm going to try and target that because I mean it's just a bunch of Facebook pages and stuff like that on the first page, so I think I should be okay with that.
Well, it's good when you see that, because when you see what called parasites, so like Facebook pages and Web2s, things like that on the first page of Google, it means you can do that too, and you can usually do it very, very quickly. All right. So one of the other things about videos is if you see another video on page 1, that's a great keyword to target, because you know that you can get a video to page 1. You see what I'm saying? And honestly, if you do what we teach, you're going to be out SEOing the next guy anyways. I mean, there's just no question. So I love it when I look at a keyword and I see a video on page 1 because I know I'm going to rank a video above that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, and the other part of that is sometimes if you don't see the video on page 1, it just won't rank. And also, if you're targeting terms that return maps, it's not that you can't get a video when there's maps on the first page. I've found that it's sometimes more difficult. And again, it depends on the term. But you have less overall organic spaces for a video when there's maps that are returned as well. So just keep that in mind. So if you're targeting for longer tail keywords, sometimes a lot of those different terms won't return maps, and that generally means you'll have a better chance. And to be honest with you, Sherman, a lot of this is testing. When you said you're targeting additional clients, you know, one thing that you can do to try to land clients, and I mentioned this before, is that create a generic video, something that's generic enough that really it could be applied to anybody, and you know, in that particular industry, in that area, and rank it first for even a long tail term. Like for example, you could target something that's kind of an obscure term that has little to no competition whatsoever, and rank that, and then use that as an example to the client, because unless they're, you know, SEO savvy, they're not going to recognize the difference between a real competitive term and a less competitive term. And you could show them, especially if you do it like within 24 hours of you contacting them, and you show them that timestamp which shows up right in the search results, and say, you know, 17 hours ago, and you contact them and say, look, 17 hours, I got this to page 1 for this term. I can do something similar for your business if you're interested. You see what I'm saying? Okay, well, we got about 5 more minutes if anybody else has another question.
Let's see. Anybody pop anything into the Q&A? Don't see anything.
Well, this was our first one, so, and I think, like I said, next week we're going to try to push it through on the Semantic Mastery website. So we'll still set up a event page, but we'll have a link to where the actual event will be held, which will be on semanticmastery.com, probably /hump day. And that way people can register there, and we'll have a Q&A box and everything right on the page. Try to keep everything in one location. So, all right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to wrap it up because this was kind of like our first run at this, and I appreciate you guys coming today, participating, and we'll do it again next week. Oh, let's see. Who was going to ask about PBNs? Najib. Najib's here. I didn't know that. He must be watching.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, if you look at the Q&A box in the left-hand side, and then click on that app, do you see the questions?
There we go. It just popped up.
In theming them. Yeah, Najib, I was going to do, because I was going to show one of my own sites, so I was going to do a video, and I think I told you in the community I was going to try to get that done and a video posted by the end of this week. I don't particularly want to show one of my PBN sites on public webinar. I'll do that on one side. But yeah, how to keep it the safest and theme it and all that. Yeah, I'll submit a video, like I said, by the end of the week for sure. I know you're itching to get that, and I've been trying to get to it, so I promise you I'll get that to you by the end of the week, and I'll show you an example of one of my own sites, okay? Okay. And by the way, anybody else participating in here that is in the group already, if you guys have any themed PBNs that you wouldn't mind sharing, and you know, want to contribute that to the community inside the community, that would be great too. My problem is I haven't had time to set it up, so so all right, well, I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, and then we also have our Sherman, you guys are gonna keep me beyond 30 minutes, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's gonna take a little bit longer than this.
Yeah. You know, we've got our main webinar next week, the training webinar next Thursday. If you can wait till then. Otherwise, I'll tell you what, pose that question in the community, and you can get some answers back from all of us. I know John does a lot of local too. He'd be happy to answer some of that, I'm sure. And we can answer those questions, Sherman. We're at the 30-minute mark, so
okay, sure.
We want to keep no worries, dude. We just want to keep these short. And then, like I said, for more in-depth stuff, we'll cover those. Oh, by the way, you know how in the group there's that webinar questions category? That's
Yeah,
for
yeah.
stuff that you really want covered, like in depth. Put that in that category, and I'll make sure that I cover it.
Okay, sure. Awesome stuff.
Okay, sweet. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all next week.
All right.
See ya.